How's it going? Yeah, I just came back from watching the new Spider-Man movie, and I think the hype surrounding the entire movie is completely and utterly justified. It was such a really good movie. So I had to wait about 10 days, when movie released on the 31st, to watch it because one, I was in college, and two, I really want to just come home, back in my little man cave. Just kidding, I went to the movie theater with my parents. I also just wanted to watch with my parents because my parents and I have like this like tradition of like just watching literally every single Marvel movie that comes out. Uh, the Endgame. So I can't break that tradition. I feel like if I watch this movie without my parents, it's just not gonna feel the same. So I watched it with them. They enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I had a blast with it, and I think it was really, really good. I think it was a great movie. I think um, whatever whatever money gets made for that movie, it's completely well justified. Now, one of the big things that I one of the big things I liked about this movie was the fact that it felt like a Spider-Man movie. It didn't feel like an MCU movie. It didn't feel like a freaking multiverse Spider-Man movie. It felt like a genuine and actual Spider-Man movie. Like there were some times in the movie where I thought Tom Holland as Spider-Man acted like he was like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like there were some points where I saw like some of the ways that he was moving, like climbing up the walls and all that. Some of his voice lines, some of his dialogue, like they sound a lot like what Andrew Garfield would probably say. And obviously him having the organic web, mimicking, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which he also mentioned him in this movie, Peter too. And I thought that was pretty cool. So there were like a lot of things in this movie that I find really cool. Now, um, I don't know if you guys came in here with this kind of knowledge, but I actually came into this movie, um, with the knowledge of watching Daredevil and also The Punisher. Uh, so there were some references that I got. So for example, because about 2 or 3 years ago, I binge watched the entirety of Daredevil with my dad. I also watched The Defenders, and I also watched Punisher, and obviously I watched a new Daredevil Born Again. So I came into Spider-Man with the knowledge of knowing, Daredevil Born Again, Punisher, and Defenders. So what's the knowledge help me with in this movie? Well, absolutely not a lot of things. It's just references. So for example, coming in here with the knowledge of you knowing the hand from Daredevil, seeing them in this movie, obviously I knew that they were gonna be in this movie from the trailer, but seeing them in the movie felt really, really cool. It brought me back to the time when, Elektra was part of the hand and, Daredevil was fighting the hand, and I thought that was pretty cool. And the way they did the hand in this movie is amazing. I like the hand in this, even though they won't be like a central part of the movie. I think the way the hand acted in this movie was really, really good. So now another one is Punisher. Now, Punisher is probably gonna be my only critique in this movie because I'm someone who came from the Punisher, watching the Punisher, seeing Daredevil season two, and obviously The Last Kill. And that's the Punisher I know. Brand New Day Punisher, he is a funny dude. He is acting like a funny guy. However, it doesn't feel like I'm watching Punisher. Like John Bernthal, he did pretty good. Like there were some points in there where, yeah, he is Punisher, but there were some points in the movie where he just didn't feel like the Punisher that I know. He doesn't feel like the John Bernthal from the Punisher TV show. He doesn't feel like the John Bernthal from Daredevil season two or Born Again or Last Kill. Like he didn't really feel like that kind of Punisher. He just felt like a more like dumbed down version of the Punisher. He was being more like goofy and like he didn't really feel like Punisher that you really know of. And I completely understand the reason why. It's a PG-13 movie. It's Spider-Man. They're gonna have to find a way to make a rated R MA TV MA character dumbed down into a more PG-13 version. Now, I was more surprised about um all the bad words that he said. Like I'm pretty sure they only limited his bad words to the S word and the GD word. Like that's probably the only words that he got limited to. It's kind of funny, and he uses the crap out of those words. Like every time Punisher was on screen, he just keeps cursing, and I find that pretty funny. So they didn't mean like limit him, but you can definitely tell like if you've seen the shows and if you've seen Daredevil, if you've seen all of, like the things from Punisher, you can definitely see my point in like why the Punisher didn't really feel like Punisher. But that's probably like my only critique of this movie. Everything else about this movie I think of is honestly amazing. I think the fact that they got it. they made this movie more of like a like street hero type of movie, um, is amazing. I think it was really cool. I think this is really what Spider-Man is about because he is a vigilante. He's a street hero. He's on the same line as like Punisher, Daredevil, and like Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Um, like that's the kind of like superhero he is. He's a mass vigilante, and that's who Spider-Man is, and I find that really, really nice. Anything else? I mean, production quality, I mean, it was good. I think it was cool. I think everything about it was cool. The effects were amazing. There wasn't like a single time on screen where I saw like the special effects were like, acting funky. Like there was none of that. Um, the characters, they were good. That they acted really good. Anything else about like movie wise? Story was good. Everybody was nice. Effects were amazing. Acting was good, especially with Tom Holland. He did really good in this movie too. Um, I think that's about it in terms of like movie production type things. It was good. The actual characters, I think, was pretty cool. Seeing like this is just a continuation of what happened in No Way Home. Was it No Way Home? So Far From Home. It was No Way Home. It was just a continuation of No Way Home. So, for example, everybody forgot about who Peter was because of what Doctor Strange did in order to save the multiverse. Obviously, that's what happened. So, no one really knows who Peter is, other than like a certain group of people. It would have been nice if we saw like how Peter and the Punisher met each other, and also how Peter and also that special agent that we see in the movie, how they also met each other. That would have been really cool. But again, really nobody knows who Peter is. He's just a social outcast. Like no one knows who he is. He's just living a life of just, who Peter Parker is. He doesn't have Iron Man. He doesn't have the Avengers. He doesn't have Aunt May. He doesn't have, the suits and all that. He's just Spider-Man. He is a broke college student who is just, living a life, being a mass vigilante. When he's back at home at his little apartment, he is just a normal dude. That's who Peter Parker is in my eyes, and also a lot of people's eyes, which is also pretty sure like why a lot of people like this movie because it's a Spider-Man movie. It feels like a Spider-Man movie, and that's what I like about it. That's probably my best. Like that's probably my favorite thing about this movie. That it feels like a it feels like a Spider-Man movie with obviously the Punisher and obviously the Hulk, which is amazing. I love seeing the Hulk in the movie. Every time the Hulk was on screen, it was amazing. Punisher was amazing. Seeing Jean Grey, which was a surprise to me in this movie. I knew she wasn't. I know she wasn't a bad guy. Like there was no way she was a bad guy. I kind of knew like in the plot that I kind of knew in the plot that like something was up with the security system. Like what's it called? The damage control people. Like I didn't really see that. I could kind of call it from a little mile away that they were probably the bad guys in this. So, for example, the hand is not like a good group of people. They're not good. If you've seen, obviously, I kept saying this. If you've seen, Daredevil and Defenders, you know that the hand is not a good group of people. So, seeing them, oh yeah, the hand is just working for us. They're nice people. So I was looking at them like, I'm sorry, this is the hand we're talking about. They're not a group of good people. They killed a lot of people that we liked. So that was a little on edge there. Obviously, some of the things that Damage Control was doing, like I kind of saw it. My mom also kind of catched it. Like there were some points where my mom like came up to me and said like, "Oh, the Damage Control, these people do not look good." And I was looking at her weird, like, "What the heck are you talking about?" And then obviously at the end of the movie, it comes out, "Oh yeah, Damage Control was the antagonist of this movie all along." So, that was a pretty cool part. But I did really like this movie. Seeing like Spider-Man, Tom Holland, well, Spider-Man and MJ or Peter Parker and MJ, like the dynamic that they have in this movie, even though they have no idea who they are, they also had played some part in this. I really do feel bad about Peter Parker and MJ, especially with what Sadie Sink uh, character Jean Grey. Um, has done because what Jean Grey's been doing in this movie is completely sick-minded until the end of the movie where you kind of see like what her problem was. And I still think like even with her problem, what she did with Peter is completely, as he said in the movie, it's unforgivable. Why would she do all that? That's very messed up for what she did. Yes, I understand she's broken. Yes, I understand, she's trying to find her sister that died. But you don't have to like do all that with people. So I completely understand that you're broken, but still, that was a lot. And like you made Peter feel very, very bad. Especially when she controlled MJ. That was just not good. So completely unjustifiable. Um, but again, Jean Grey, I guess, you are the Phoenix, so you do get a little pass. Um, but yeah, the dynamic that happened, I mean, so like when MJ figured out who Peter Parker really was from the past life, like the way he did it, like I was expecting, oh yeah, MJ would have just, broke up with her boyfriend and said, "Oh, Peter, you're back," gives him a little, hug and maybe like a kiss on the cheeks, something like that. But that didn't really happen. It's kind of like what you expect. I'm surprised that MJ does believe who Peter is, and I'm pretty sure there is some sort of ball in her head that she does remember who she does remember who Peter is. I don't doubt it. But as everyone expected, it went as good as nothing. She understands that Peter was probably something in her past life. Peter does say that she loves her a lot. You know, he hits her with the freaking "I love you," and she said, "I can't love you because the memories of us are not there," and she's very sad about it. That. I feel like she does believe that she had a history with Peter, but the only thing is that she just can't remember, and that's the big reason why she couldn't do all that with Peter. You know. However, she did take him as a friend, so that's amazing. And also Ned in this movie is amazing. I think Ned as a character definitely changed in this movie. Like if you remember Ned from Homecoming, and you compare Ned from Homecoming and compare Ned until now, like you can definitely see the difference in Ned. Like he feels a little bit more like a party goer. He feels more like he's not as shy. Because I remember from Homecoming, he was more on the shy side. But now you can see like, oh, now he's hosting like freaking house parties at his apartment. So he definitely going out of his shell. That's probably because he's almost graduated from college, so maybe he has that college energy. Probably what I'm gonna have soon. I'm gonna become whatever this is to maybe a freaking social out to maybe like a social freaking savant. So that happened. But a lot of things happened in this movie. One of the big things that did surprise me was seeing Yelena or Black Widow. That kind of surprised me. And she's introduced very early in the movie too. So like when I saw it, I'm like, who the hell is this lady? And I'm like, oh shoot, that's freaking Black Widow right there. So that kind of surprised me to see her in this movie, especially the mention of the new Avengers too. That was cool. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things about this movie that I can talk about. Like how they did Spider-Man. I think everything he did about Peter was cool. The dynamic between Peter and Punisher, even though I didn't really like Punisher in this movie, the dynamic between Peter and Frank Castle was very funny. They were a little good comedic dude. Like even like in the building when Hulk turned into Savage Hulk, you know, they were still arguing in there. That was pretty funny. Um, and that it's a good dynamic. It's a good dynamic. It kind of reminds me of the dynamic between Punisher and also the little girl from Punisher season two. That kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But that's a story for another day. But it was a really good movie. I don't really have anything else to say other than that. I feel like you'll understand what I'm talking about, like when you really go in there. Like it does feel like a Spider-Man movie. You know. Um, like I haven't played any of the Insomniac Spider-Man games, so I can't really, tell for certain. But I've heard that there were some moves that they got inspired by from the Spider-Man Insomniac games. So that's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it. If I was to rate it out of 10, it'll probably be like a good 9 out of 10. I probably have a lot more to say about this movie, but I'm a tired man. I don't really have anything else to talk about this movie other than that it was really good. Why is my voice hurting? It was even. It was. Well, okay. It was a really good movie. Um, Definitely watch it. It will help you understand. Hopefully for Doomsday. Very excited for that movie. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking because I feel like my voice is about ready to give up. But it's a really good movie. Um, I definitely expect a lot of people to watch this movie. Brand New Day is amazing. I really hope more Spider-Man movies get released, especially with Tom Holland. It's really, really good. Anyways, I got a game to play. I got One Piece anime to watch. I want to go into my little bed. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching.